Kellan Olson is here, and he's here to talk NBA trade deadline, which has now passed. Now, I'm sure there are still deals trickling in around the league. So, next.
No, it's so boring that Woj is doing like the tweet like DeJounte Murray staying put, Bruce Brown staying put.
Oh, he's doing that?
It used to be like Kyrie Irving is staying put, Kevin Durant is staying put, but now we're doing it. No offense, love Bruce Brown, love DeJounte Murray. Andre Drummond got one of these tweets 2 minutes ago. It's been a slow affair, but not for the Phoenix Suns, Luke.
No, it has not been slow for the Suns. So Wolf and I were trying to figure this out on the air as the trade was happening before, what the playoff rotation looks like. But now that you're here, we talked to Gambo about it as well. But since you're sitting here in studio, how many guys that they currently have on their roster do you think are locked into the playoff rotation?
Locked in, I would say 7.
Okay, that's the number we had.
I think we're at 7.
Okay, and that's including Royce O'Neal as one of the 7.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the 7th guy, and I think that there are 2 more spots left, basically. There's the backup center slot, which I'm sure will be explored. The only notable player that has been released so far that could become a buyout guy or will become a buyout guy, I should say, is Robin Lopez. We saw him the other night playing for Milwaukee. Other than that, we haven't seen any other real names. I think that they're going to look potentially for another wing, Daniel House Jr., who played here during the 20-win years. He's a guy that's going to come up. He's a guy that makes sense. A guard, I haven't really seen one come up just yet, but we're going to kind of wait and see. But those other 2 slots, that's kind of where it goes.
What about Bol Bol? Where do you put him?
He's absolutely in the mix. It's been such a surprise and such a great story and so much fun that we have to remind ourselves it's been 5 games. It's been 5 total games.
It is so fun, man, to watch him play, though, right?
It's electric. It's amazing. Like I wrote it after the game. He is one of the 3 most popular Suns players for the crowd. And I understand the other 2 guys are. They're Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. And then it's Bol Bol. They love that guy. I love him too. It's so much fun. You never know what's going to happen on the court, good or bad. But guess what? It's been pretty good so far. It's been pretty good.
Something's going to happen. That's what you know when he's out there. So just to reset for anybody driving around, Durant, Booker, Beal, Nurk, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, Eric Gordon. Those are your 7.
Yep.
And you're saying 2 more to get it to 9, obviously. Simple math on the air. Bol Bol, Josh Okogie, Drew Eubanks. Do you put David Roddy in there in the mix?
Do not think so. I think that would be quite the long shot, yeah.
Okay. So is it just those 3 plus whoever they would go and get in the buyout market? I mean, you still have Nas Little, too.
Little is someone who could still make a push for a rotation spot. I think I put him in there. I think that guys out of that group that you mentioned, I think Eubanks is certainly in the mix for a spot still. He's going to hold that slot tonight. He could hold that slot the rest of the season still. He's been playing better lately in the last 2 weeks for sure. But I do think that there's still work to be done. Now, the buyout market is, I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this, but the trade-off from how much we actually talk about it and how much it actually matters is quite the spectrum to go on. I went and looked up, I think last year or 2 years ago, I looked through all of the NBA Finals teams for the last 10 to 15 years and guys that were acquired on the buyout market and guys that were actually in the rotation, and it was one guy. Remember P.J. Brown on that Celtics team?
Yeah, vaguely.
That's
it. I mean, I remember P.J. Brown. I don't even remember him on that team.
That's pretty much it. Now, there have been other impact buyout players to move to teams that didn't make it to the NBA Finals, not to say, but Terrence Ross last year, that was a good get. That was a good buyout get, and he didn't end up mattering in the grand scheme of things. He got in there in the rotation later in the series, but still had his shortcomings, to be sure, that I think we saw on full display. So at the end of the day, you are getting players that are quite flawed, so it's not something where you shouldn't just say, no, we're not going to trade anyone because we can get it in the buyout market. That's not how the buyout market really works. But in this kind of situation, now that they have 2 open roster slots because they had to move 4 guys to get this deal done, sure, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
One of the best developments over the last, I would say, 3-4 weeks to me is Yusuf Nurkic and how much more physical he's playing. Is this a situation, do you think, where the Phoenix Suns have actually approached him and told him he's got to be more of this for them?
I don't think so. We talked to him about it last practice, so yesterday, Wolf, and I asked him if he embraces kind of the physicality, and to him it was okay, so in order to embrace it, that means I'm thinking about it. And it's he doesn't think about it, Wolf. He just plays that way. That's just how he plays.
Yeah, but have you noticed him getting more physical over the last few weeks?
I've noticed the uptick, but I think that it's come as a byproduct of him being more involved in the offense and him being more involved in general and feeling more comfortable because all 3 of those guys are out there. and he's gotten a lot from his numbers are way up. I think he was shooting somewhere around 46% before this 16 straight games that they've had, but then since then, he's shooting 59%, which is much better around the rim. That's right around where a center should be. They should probably be low to mid 60s, so a little lower, but it's still pretty solid. And he's just been not a revelation per se, because he's someone who's been pretty darn good in the NBA before, but I think I categorized him as like a top 25 center in the league coming into the year, and he's been like a top 15 guy at least for the last month, 6 weeks. He's been really darn good, and I think that him and Grayson Allen being the impact contributors that they have been, I think if we were to talk about this back when that trade happened, we would have just taken one of those guys becoming the way that they've turned into for this team. So that's a big part of the way that you're drawing out your depth chart right now, Luke, that you have to look at Grayson Allen and Yusuf Nurkic as critical pieces of this team, and that's what they've become.
Yeah, especially helpful that Allen has turned into that so quickly where they could just kind of count on him at that point.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.